to harass our people and eat out their substance.
George III and his bureaucrats taxed and controlled their lives until the people said, enough.
Live from Los Angeles, I'm Pamela Wistrom on Second Thought with William J. Wagener.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pamela, for the intro. We're here to do another show about corruption in government. And boy, it just seems to get steeper. I talk to people all the time, and now it's not, can you get justice in court? We know you can't get justice in court. They're corporate courts. They're not intended to give we the people any justice. One example is a woman who had her identity stolen. Now, she had a very common name. Her name was Cindy Brown. And there probably is more than 10 or 20,000 Cindy Browns just in the state of California alone. But this Cindy Brown was unique. She grew up in Portland, Oregon, and basketball was her sport. So much so that she became an Olympian. Not just an Olympian, but a gold medal winning Olympian in 1988. This Cindy Brown moved down to California. She traveled the world, was on many basketball leagues and teams, and made quite a good living as a former gold medal winning Olympian. And one day she refinanced her house and someone got a copy of her signature. Then some other folks decided to take her signature and forge it on some other remortgaging documents for which she got none of the remortgage money at all. But they made a host of mistakes. One of the mistakes they made was to check off on the form the alleged notary, who I'm told was L. Martin. Miss Martin apparently checked off she was witnessing the signature of Cindy Brown and she was a white woman. So she checked off white. Problem was, Cindy's a tall, very black, talented, beautiful black woman. And anybody who sees her knows that Martin could not have been looking face to face, as notaries swear under oath they're doing when they notarize a signature. So I think this notary public has something to run from, to hide from, and apparently did not renew her notary. And then she's supposed to turn in her notary books to the government. And apparently she did not. Well, a lot has happened. Cindy's house was supposed to have been auctioned off about 9 years ago, and she's still in it. So we went down to do a little interview. I think it's really interesting when you can steal somebody's identity, remortgage their house for them, for which they get not one penny, and then foreclose and take the house because she's not paying on the mortgage she never really signed. And this isn't an isolated example. This one, however, I think Cindy's going to win, even though 3 or 4 crooked judges have refused to hear her evidence, don't want to let her lawsuit in the court. Okay. There's Cindy playing basketball. We're in the famous Cindy Brown's workout room at her home. Okay, Cindy, tell me what happened since the last time I was here in the room with you?
Well, there's a lot of things that are happening in the local community. People are starting to fight back because they have enough evidence to show and prove that they've been defrauded by the banks. And, you know, they're trying to get to trial, but there's clearly obstruction of justice where, you know, the judicial system, it seems like it's almost designed for us to not go back into that courtroom and have our due process, which is to have a trial by jury. And we have to be determined to, you know, demand that right to go to trial. And they're going to keep fighting us to prevent us to go to trial, and we're not going to allow that to happen. We have to stand in honor, and we have to be very diligent at how we proceed. I think what happens at this point is we need to form groups that understand the correct procedures, how to get to court, teach the others who don't understand, bring them up to speed so that we can move together, because no one case can win it by itself. And clearly the judges, I don't want to say judges in all, because I don't think all of them are in agreement, but I think they're sworn to some type of secrecy that they can't really go against the bad ones. But I think what's happening here is the corruption's so thick that...
What judge, let me ask you, what judge did you have, Cindy? What judge did you take your biggest hit from?
I've gone through several judges. I've had, from the very beginning, Peter Polos. Then it was reassigned to Luis Rodriguez. Then it was reassigned to William Claster, who came in for a hot second to release everyone and give out summary judgments as Christmas gifts, it seemed like. And then all of a sudden it got reassigned to Mary Fingal Schulte, which I felt, she was going to be a very productive, fair judge. I still have faith in her that she's going to do the right thing. I have a belief that she knows the law, but I think there may be some hidden areas that haven't been spoke about, where she's somewhat sworn into doing what everyone else is doing, which is giving us resistance, not letting these cases get to trial. They don't want to go against the grain because it's she's standing by herself, or there's something holding them. I mean, the truth is in the paperwork. There's corruption, there's forgeries, there's identities being stolen, there's laundering of money. You're seeing now a flood of law enforcement officers who are talking about the counterfeit documents, which, we're led to believe that marketing counterfeit documents is just the norm. It's okay. And homeowners are scratching their heads saying it's not okay because it involves our homes, something that we're not even a party to. You've just taken us off of our ownership of the home and made us tenants. That's not what we agreed to. That's a completely different picture which was told to them at the signing table.
Now, they had your house up on the auction block that we're in right now. What month was that you stopped the courthouse sale right at the door?
It's been on the auction block for a while. I mean, it's been going since 2000, I believe, 2007, and each time they keep changing the dates. This is their legal abuse that they continue to try to wear me down. Just recently, they had it up for auction June 24th, and I had to go into the bankruptcy to see if I can maneuver the case and get it back on track. Unfortunately, it was unsuccessful. I was able to at least take that time and use it constructively to kind of reassess and look at the case to find other areas of concern, which is when I was able to bring forward the identity theft, and the government was able to see it, and then they started to issue letters of release and acknowledgement that yes, this is clearly an identity theft. You have a look-alike name, and they're using someone of a different race and using my credentials with that name. And I was like, wow, these guys are really good. They're very professional. They're very sophisticated. However, if given enough time, you can dissect these cases and find out how they perfect the identity thefts in these cases. Clearly what I did. Now they're trying to find ways to get out of it. So they're trying to stall any and every statute possible, making it impossible for it to go to trial
By
or
jury.
to even open the case. Yeah, they're pulling every string they can.
And who's the financial group right now that is holding the paperwork, the bogus paperwork?
Well, it looks like Bank of New York Mellon is really the big bully here that's trying to legalize the paperwork, and they're fighting for some alleged trust. A trust is known by Bear Stearns Alta 2006-2, which has already been in litigation back in New York, where this loan is governed through the pooling and service agreements. In the prospectus, it says this trust is governed, its jurisdiction is in New York. So they've already litigated and found that New York, Bear Stearns, had an issue. And they dismissed the case, I think it was in May of 2014. They dismissed the case, the insurance company against Bear Stearns, and then they said it was without prejudice because they found new information in regards to the packaging of the documents, the loans. And they were saying, if we had known about this prior to, we'd have never insured any of these loans. So, you know, they were very smart at how they put these loans together, and they pull certain documents to, you know, get it to pass through the system, and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, we forgot to add this in here. Oh, all these loans are bad. They're basically waiting to default. They wouldn't have any insurance company in their right mind would have never insured such a thing, because that means they're liable for all those defaulted loans.
So since June, they took your home off the pre-sale listing information?
No, they actually had it on the auction block for a while. And just recently, we've noticed that Zillow has taken the home off of the pre-foreclosure or auction block. Now, we're not quite sure what they're doing, but something behind the scenes is moving. Either someone's paying or we can't tell. You know, we're trying to find out what's making them take that loan off of the market or out of the foreclosure. But I've done a few things with my loan, and it seems to be stabilizing, but I don't want to be too confident yet until I get the final paperwork that says you own it outright.
Did some attorney general in this state or another state send them letters asking for information?
Yes, actually I had the opportunity to get a few very powerful letters. One from the Office of Inspector General, who's basically going to inquire and find out what, you know, documents they have, because I've laid some very strong allegations on the table with proof. And then I caught wind that the Attorney General also had that same file, and now they're asking
California Attorney General.
California Attorney General. She's saying, let me see those documents, because I've put enough information into the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau, and they're looking at it and they're like, that wasn't a mistake, that's not you. Yeah, I know it's not me, but I want to see how they arrived at their answer. How is that me? The wrong person is at the table. Will the right Cynthia Brown please come forward? I'm sitting right here. Who are you? So using identical names is the key here.
Okay, well, thank you for that update.
Sure.
Well, as you can see, she's a fighter. That's how she got to be an Olympian. They shouldn't have picked on an Olympian gold medal winner. Somebody didn't know who they were messing with. This is William Wagener from Orange County, California. Okay,
Huh?
then we got this one.
Now, here's the trick. Notice to bidders.
can't make out that signature.
This is, your other document that says that on December 20th, 2013, the known assets have been distributed to the, let's see, persons entitled thereto. And it says also the corporation's known debts and liabilities have been actually paid.
That's dated December 20th, 2013. What do they mean by paid? You're still in the house.
Something's going on.
And they were dissolved.
They're dissolved.
This state of California letter says, according to the signature by Alex Padilla, they're dissolved.
They're dissolved.
So if they're dissolved, how can they have anything to do with the foreclosure? How can there be any, this doesn't make sense.
When you go online, you'll see that the property is up for auction September 8th. But their company is dissolved. Why do you have my personal information on your website and you're writing declarations for nationwide posting and publication, but you're a dissolved company? Oh, I'm sorry, and you're conducting the auction? Okay, where's your auctions license? Plus they're telling you in these auction bids that if you are considering bidding on this property lien, you should understand that there are risks involved in bidding at a trustee auction. You will be bidding on a lien, not on the property itself.
So that doesn't really make sense, does it?
Oxymoron.
Yeah, I just, wow. It just gets, we're in the wild, wild west. Really. It's become the wild financial west.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, come in here a little closer. Now, let me get close and personal. Would you like to pay $350,000 to buy a piece of paper that's just a lien? Just a lien. You're not going to get the house. You see, because the house is in a mess of fraud. So you people that are going to go and you're going to bid on Cynthia L. Brown's house, you're being suckered into a lawsuit that will do nothing but cost you money, and you will never get the house. And if you do manage to get the sheriff, when they finally catch up with you, and I don't mean just the sheriff, I mean the militia, your trial by a common law jury may be very short and rapid. And at that point, you won't care about money. You'll care about staying alive. Anyway, Cindy has had to execute an affidavit. And here's the affidavit. I'm going to put it over to camera 3. Go back to camera 3, yeah. If you look here, she's at the bottom of this first paragraph, she's saying, I am, or the second paragraph, I am a Negro, born in Portland, and she's making an affidavit. See that right there? She's a Negro. She was born a Negro. She's never been a white woman, and she's proud that she's a Negro, right at the bottom here of the first paragraph. So, ladies and gentlemen, my point is, if you're one of those people that are going to show up at this bogus auction and you're going to buy a lien that cannot be collected on because it's massive fraud. She never signed those documents because the document that they're showing in court says she's a white woman. As you just saw the interview, there's very little white in her skin color. Very, very little. I mean, what kind of a felonious notary would sit there and swear under oath, under penalty of perjury, as a notary, that I'm looking at the real Cindy Brown, she's a white woman, and she signed this document? It's obviously she never signed it. But the judges so far don't want to admit there's anything wrong here. They're perfectly content to stop her lawsuit for identity fraud. But the California Attorney General is looking at it, and Cindy's going to an FBI meeting here pretty quickly, pretty soon. And I think the FBI is going to take a look at this because people used her ID and her signature, her name. It wasn't actually her signature, someone signed for her. And if you look at her real signature and the signature on the documents, they're not the same. They're roughly close, but they're not the same. So somebody out there who has a high-powered lawyer, you're going to need that lawyer, because when the Attorney General and the FBI come after you, and that's what I'm just saying is a warning to all you people that might show up to try to buy Cindy Brown's house, don't even bother. This is massive fraud, and all you're going to get yourself into is a lawsuit that will cost you, and you'll be paying and paying and paying for years, and you still won't get the house. And by the way, she's letting the house kind of get run down because she's angry. And what's really funny is some years ago, she didn't water the lawn enough, so that her little town of Park Valley, I think it's called, came out and forcibly watered her lawn against her wishes and overwatered it, and now we're having a water shortage. But they ran up a huge water bill on her, just drenched her front yard. And you got to wonder if there isn't just a little bit of racism going down there in that normally all-white little town, not very far where the Koshaks were flim-flammed out of their house. And they had an attorney named Lenore Alberts.